go. Wow. Good evening, Detroit. Good evening, Detroit. Yes, I am so incredibly grateful and honored to be here, to be joined by so many of you all this evening. I want to start off, of course, by thanking all of the amazing speakers. Can we give them a round of applause? All of the amazing speakers. Starting off, of course, with America's judge, our judge, none other than Greg Mathis himself. Yeah, and if we can just make sure that the technical team has everything moving here. At all.
Somebody want to go to jail?
That's right. What's going on?
We ain't playing. We don't play no games.
That's right. So to America's judge, our judge, a family friend, someone who has supported me from the very beginning, who has believed in me from the very beginning, I will forever cherish your introduction this evening. Let's give him another round of applause. And to Daryl Woods, where did Daryl go? My brother, my partner in justice, who's always out in the streets with me in the community. Thank you for your kind words. That's right. That's right. Together we can. Together we will. To Pastor Grant. Where is Pastor Grant? Pastor Grant, Rabbi Hines, Rabbi Penson, all of the clergy that was here to me, thank you so much for your empowering words and your ministry that has inspired me over the years. Let's give them a round of applause. To Mike Aaron and Tony Stewart, my brothers in labor, and to all of the men and women in labor that are here today, let's give them a round of applause as well. To Cindy Paskey, I know she had to leave, but she is one of the most prominent businesswomen in our city. I am humbled by her support and her counsel. Let's give her a round of applause as well. And to Melissa Butler and Tommy Walker, curators of two iconic brands in Detroit, thank you for your creativity and your talent. To Georgia, Katie, and also all of my community leaders that were here today, thank you for the work that you do in our community. I love you and I appreciate you. To my family that is here, my father, my aunt, my grandmother, everyone, thank you all for being the wind beneath my wings that allows me to keep moving forward every day. Thank you. And to everyone here, those that are here and present, those that are watching online, I am truly humbled to be joined by so many people who care about our city and our future. Give yourselves a round of applause. And so there's a quote by Dr. Benjamin E. Mays that says that every man and woman, every boy and girl was born into this world to do something unique and distinctive. Yeah. And if he or she does not do it, that it will never be done. That's right. These powerful words reminds us that each and every one of us has a purpose, has a calling that is uniquely ours to fulfill. And I want to tell a quick story. I would never forget, I was in my early 20s. I just graduated from college at Wayne State. Yeah, go Warriors, go Warriors. And like most graduates my age, I was trying to figure out my place in life. I was trying to figure out what my unique and distinctive purpose was. Yeah. I had the great privilege of growing up surrounded by civil rights icons like Jesse Jackson, Yolanda King, Dick Gregory, and my grandfather, Horace Sheffield Jr. And I remember at just the age of 10 years old, attending a protest with my father for social justice and civil rights, and standing among a sea of people as the crowd yelled out, "No justice, no peace." And while I was always inspired by the legacy, and I always knew that my future was to serve, to be honest, I was a little lost. I was unsure, like most young adults my age, trying to figure out where to start and what path to take. All right. But then one day, I would never forget, I met a man reached out to me that we all know in the city of Detroit, that we love dearly here. A man with a big heart, a big smile, and an even bigger personality. None other than Sheriff Benny Napoleon. Benny had heard that I was looking for support and direction, and immediately, without hesitation, he called me up. He said, Mary, I want you to come work at the sheriff's office. I said, of course. You know, Benny was one of the most notable and respected men of service in our community. And the fact that Benny reached out to me personally, I just knew that I would be working in the executive office alongside the sheriff, that I would have the dream job working alongside Benny himself. And so my first day of work comes, I wake up, I get dressed in my Sunday's best, feeling good, and I go down to the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. And my superior was there waiting for me, Miss Newell, and she says to me, you'll be reporting to the Wayne County Jail. I said, hold on, wait a second. Excuse me, the jail? This must be a mistake. The sheriff himself sent me here. And Ms. Newell said, that's right. Benny assigned you to the Division III jail. So in complete shock and disbelief, I gathered my belongings and quite frankly, myself. And I headed over to the jail. We headed over to the jail where I would start my job as the disciplinary hearing officer. I remember vividly walking down this long corridor, passing wards full of inmates, feeling intimidated and out of place. There I was, just thinking I was going to be Benny's right hand. And now suddenly here I am at the end of a long corridor in a tiny office at the Wayne County Jail. So Miss Newell leaves the office, close the door, I sit at my desk, and I think to myself, this could not have been what Benny imagined for me. I thought to myself, I'm going to get Benny for this. Seriously. Well, I ended up staying at the Wayne County Jail for 3 years. And it turned out to be one of the most educational experiences of my life. It was my job to listen to inmates, to hear their stories and see their side. I learned how to see people beyond their circumstances. I learned that even when people are at their lowest, there is still potential. And the funny thing is, looking back, I always wondered, why? Why did Benny put me in that position? And now, as I stand here in front of you all on this stage, I understand why. Benny wanted me to learn something about people and service. He wanted to teach me that no matter how far you go, no matter how high you climb, it is always about serving people. I was being shaped and molded into a servant leader in preparation for this moment. This moment right here, where I have the great honor of standing before you all to announce my candidacy for mayor of the great city of Detroit. Thank you. So, Detroit, I see you, I hear you, I am you. And most importantly, I am inspired by you. I am inspired by our neighborhoods, the pride, the struggle, and the potential that lives on every block throughout this city. The neighbors that I've met who mow the vacant lots, who stayed when everyone else left, and band together to keep their blocks strong. Like me, they believe in a Detroit in which the growth of our city reaches every block and every commercial corridor. I am inspired by so many of our families here in our city, families who are unhoused and underemployed, working tirelessly just to make ends meet. Families that I've stood with at prayer vigils and funerals, mourning the loss of their loved ones, but just like me, they hold fast to the dream of a Detroit that is safe and where opportunity is within reach for every family. I am inspired by our amazingly gifted and talented young people whose potential will lead us into a brighter future. And I am inspired by our retirees whose sacrifices help rebuild Detroit's foundation. And our frontline workers who risk their lives every day out of love for this city and its people. And I am inspired by all of the leaders that are here on stage today, and all of you all who are in front of me, whose life work has been centered around leaving Detroit better than you found it. Together, we can achieve the Detroit that we all know is possible, and together, Detroit, we will. Together we will. So, while serving on the council for the last 11 years, we have truly built a legacy of working together. I have seen the strength of public-private partnerships, of community and business working together to accomplish so much for our residents. And this next chapter in Detroit is about building on the growth and the progress that we've all worked so hard for. It's about ensuring that the city's prosperity reaches more residents, more businesses, and more neighborhoods. I want to briefly take a moment to thank Mayor Duggan as he departs from our city. He has been a partner over the last 11 years serving on the city council. I commend his dedication and his commitment to improving our city. In working closely together, we emerged from bankruptcy and emergency management. We balanced budgets and improved our bond ratings. We improved city services and ended mass water shutoffs. We beautified Detroit by investing in parks and eliminating blight. And together, we made this city safer by reducing crime to historic lows. And as a member of the council, you all know I got to work legislatively. And with the help of so many of you all, we passed Detroit's first ever inclusionary housing ordinance, giving residents of all incomes access to new quality housing. We saved and we funded the home repair grant program for our seniors so that they can gracefully age in the comfort of their own homes. We established the Neighborhood Improvement Fund to make our city more beautiful. And we honored our labor roots by passing the Responsible Contracting and Industry Standards Board's ordinances, which ensured living wages, health care, and better working conditions for our workers. We also established the first ever legacy business program, giving funding to businesses that have been pillars in our community for 30 years or more. And we prevented nearly 5,000 families from being evicted through right to counsel, just to name a few. So I am incredibly grateful to stand before each and one of you all, proud of how far we've come, but even more inspired by how much further we can go when we go together. So I know that there is much work to be done. There are some big challenges that are ahead of us, and many may say that we can't do it. But you know what I tell them? Together we can. Together we will. Together we can.
Together we will. Together we can. Together we will.
Yep. So together, Detroit, we can grow our population, rebuild our neighborhoods, so that people not only want to work and play, but also live and raise their families here. Together, we can address the root causes of violence, reduce crime, and make Detroit safe so that not one more family is torn apart by gun violence. Together, we can ensure that Detroiters of all incomes have access to safe, quality, affordable housing and a path to home ownership. Together, we can empower and grow our small businesses, eliminate barriers, increase access to capital, and put Detroiters to work. Together, we can reduce property taxes for our residents and our businesses so that we can achieve our full economic potential. And lastly, Detroit, together we can cultivate a talented workforce of Detroiters through education, skilled trades, and preparing Detroiters for the high-paying jobs of the future. So Detroit, we will be the place where our best and our brightest, our most vulnerable, our most creative, our most audacious, are inspired to find their purpose right here in the city that we all love and call home. Say it with me one more time. Together we can.
Together we will.
Together we can.
Together we will.
Together we can.
Together we will.
Detroit, I believe that our best days are ahead of us. Will you join me? Will you join me? Will you join me to build a Detroit that works for all of us? Will you join me in making history? Will you join me in building on the success that we've all worked for? Will you join me and remind the world that Detroit is the greatest city on earth? Together we can.
Together we will.
Together we can.
Together we will.
Let's get to work, Detroit. God bless you. I love you, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you all for being here.
All right. Question? Yeah, you can, yeah. They have their mics up there. Okay, we're gonna take questions one by one. You wanted to start first, and then I'll go by.
So are there one-on-ones?
Brandon, go ahead, Brandon.
So, look, we saw you walk up, you said, wow. Just taking it in the moment, what does this moment mean to you to be able to enter this race for 2025?
I mean, I am just filled with so much hope and pride about the potential of Detroit, inspired by what we've collectively accomplished in Detroit, and really want to build this campaign and this movement on the idea that we can achieve so much together. I think we all can agree that there's been much growth in Detroit, but we want to make sure that that prosperity and that growth reaches more people in more areas of our city. So there's much more work to be done. I'm inspired by the people that are here that put their trust in me to move forward with this vision in Detroit. But I am filled with hope, pride, and an unshakable belief in our great city.
Okay. Mayor Duggan has left quite a foundation.
He has.
Where do you want to pick up, and who are you going to advocate for if you get into office?
The same that I've advocated for since I've been on council. I mean, nothing changes. My values are the same. People, neighborhoods, economic growth in our city. I think we collectively laid a great foundation. We worked with the mayor the last 12, 11 years and have emerged from bankruptcy, improved our bond ratings, everything that I mentioned in the speech. And now it's about how we sustain that and make sure that it grows even further. So my values will always be centered around neighborhoods, people, and making sure that we're uplifting the least of the in our community.
One more question.
Councilwoman, wait. We have to go one at a time.
Detroit's never had a woman serve as mayor. They never had a millennial serve as mayor. Why is the time now?
It's always a great time for something new in Detroit. And I believe that, you know, I serve a God that says all things are possible. And I believe that this is the time in Detroit. I think that the people of Detroit have spoken. As someone mentioned today, we chose her. And I truly believe that the people are ready for not just the female, but the right one, the right leader who has the right values and compassion to lead Detroit forward.
Thank you. Bridge Detroit, Malachi.
For a lot of talk tonight about straddling
the business community continuing the development while also not pushing out residents. Since you've been in office, you've talked about preventing gentrification. I'm curious, we've got a big, probably tax break vote on the Renaissance Center coming up. How are you going to kind of navigate that?
So I'm not going to get into specifics because nothing has come before council. So I won't even be able to judge that without seeing details. I do think there has been a unique opportunity presented to save an iconic landmark in our city, creating jobs, economic growth, and providing affordable housing. The details I would like to see more of. So I won't get into that without actually having something come before council with all of the details.
There are a lot of people here tonight, obviously, for people that are not in the room that don't typically care about elections or get engaged. How do you get those people interested in a mayoral race?
Well, they're here, right? So they are interested. I think a lot of these people have watched me from the very beginning. They're excited about what I've stood for, what I've done already, and what I will continue to do. So we just got to keep the excitement and the momentum moving forward over the next 9 months, and I'm excited to do that.
Detroit Free Press, Dana, did you want to? If not, I'm just going on. Perfect.
Oh, yeah, can we jump in free press? Dan, you got one?
Okay, go ahead.
Madam President, what do you say to Councilman Durhall, Sontiel Jenkins, and Joe Tate, who have expressed interest in this job? What do you say to them today?
Really, I don't say anything to them. I think at the end of the day, Detroiters will make the decision on who is best to lead and to serve this city. I am very confident in what I've done, my experience, and my ability to move this city in a positive direction. So I will leave that to the great and amazing residents of the city of Detroit to make a decision.
That's good. How did you make the decision to tell that story about your first job with the county?
Yeah, I just thought about how I wanted to tell a story. I wanted people to understand. I didn't just show up, up on the council. That before that, there was a path of service and there was a path of helping people. And so that story came to mind as a way to let people know more about who I am, my love and passion for people, and that, again, no matter how far we go, if this next step is mayor, it's always going to be about serving people. And so that is a key value that I hold true to.
Great story.
WDIV?
Well, if elected, what would be your first priority, perhaps a priority that you feel is not getting the attention that it needs right now?
So many things that I want to do, but I can tell you this, that structural property tax reform is very important to me. I've heard from both residents and businesses that it is such a hindrance to the growth of our city, and so I'm looking forward to creating a group of people to come together, stakeholders, and figuring out how we address this issue of property tax reform. Then, of course, affordable housing and neighborhood investment will be top priority for me as well, too.
Good. Shep 7?
Right here. You've talked about your partnership with Mayor Duggan.
Yes.
Tell us about those conversations you had before announcing your candidacy, and how do you plan to separate from his legacy to create your own?
Yeah, so we've talked, and I think that, a lot of people know that my work is my work. The affordable housing that I've done, the responsible contracting, the neighborhood improvement fund are all initiatives that I was passionate about and I was able to approve. And so moving forward, just building upon that legacy, Mayor Duggan has been very supportive of me and our collaborative work that we've done over the years. And I'm looking forward to creating my own voice. We've not always agreed on everything. And I think that is what you'll begin to see as I move forward. Some of the things that I'm more passionate about that he may not have been. And that's okay. But really leading with the values and the passions that I have here in the city of Detroit.
Did he give you any advice?
Keep doing what you're doing. Honestly, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing.
WDET, did you have any questions?
One of the things that Mike Duggan has, with his business background, obviously the union presence is pretty big in the city. How will you go about handling union activity in the city as contract negotiations come up and that sort of thing?
Well, you see, I'm here at a union hall. I come from a union background. Detroit has a huge union legacy, and so I've worked with unions throughout my entire tenure on council, and making sure that we invite them to the table as projects come, as deliberations come, is key. And so I am a unapologetically union, will be a union mayor, and will stand with our men and women in labor moving forward.
Good. CBS, Detroit.
Hi. How would you plan as mayor to protect some of Detroit's natural resources if you are elected?
Yeah, just making them a priority. I know that the city council, not the city council, but the budget of Detroit is limited in the sense that we can't prioritize everything. But I think that is one of which is extremely instrumental in the progress and the growth of our city. And so just making sure that it's prioritized, working with various stakeholders as well to make sure that the issues that are raised are actually lifted and invested in.
Keeping it Detroit.
Yes.
Andre Ash.
Yes.
There have been a number of community groups that have that the city has partnered with to help bring down violent crime, but also working with the police department. How will you work with the next police chief, whomever that will be, even if you may not have a decision in choosing your own police chief?
Yep, I will work with whomever. I absolutely love our current chief right now that is in place right now. I think he does a phenomenal job. We've had a relationship over the last 11 years. I am very big on trying to create permanent funding for community violence intervention work that's happening right now, possibly even creating an office of violence prevention, which I think is important as well, and enhancing community policing as well. And so it will be a priority for me, not just from the policing aspect and investing in the police department, but how we fund community violence work as well. And I know we have some organizations that are here that are doing great work. We have historic lows for crime in Detroit, so something is going right, but we have to build upon that work.
Jaja.
Jaja over here, Saturday Media. Councilwoman Sheffield, you have done such amazing work with young people and entrepreneurs within the city of Detroit. How do you plan on continuing to bridge that gap?
Yep, so we're talking to young people right now to figure out exactly their role. As a young person going into office, it has always been important for me to lift as I climb. And make sure that young people are civically engaged, that I'm talking to them, that I'm making sure that they feel a part of the growth of Detroit. And so we probably have some type of commission or some type of initiative that really empowers young people to be a part of civic engagement in the progress of Detroit. So all of the work that I do now, right now, going into schools, all of that will continue as mayor, because a part of this next step is how we inspire the next generation of young people. How do we keep them here in Detroit? How do we change the culture that Detroit is not the place to be? It really is the place to be.
That's right.
And we want young people to stay, to retain that talent so that we can grow our population here in Detroit.
That's right.
Thank you.
All right.
And Freeport had one last question before we go. And that's the last. This is the last question, by the way, too.
Multi-million-dollar investments in the city has become a contentious issue, as we've seen as the council when it comes to developers seeking tax rates. How will you go about addressing that as mayor after somebody who supported many of those projects, but the community has pushed back a lot on tax incentives?
So doing what I do now, I bridge. I build bridges.
That's right.
I bring community and I bring business together. I try to listen to the needs of what community is asking, try to incorporate that in what business is bringing to the table, and make sure that we have a return on investment. And so a lot of those projects I have supported, and I'm proud that I have, because I've been able to get additional benefits added within those projects. And so I will continue to represent both.
That's right.
Community needs business, and business needs community.
That's right.
And they don't have to be silos, right? We are all a community. And a part of what I want to do is bridge that gap and bring us forward together as we move forward and regrow the city of Detroit.
That's powerful.
Okay? All right, thank you all for being here.
That's a good way to end it. Together we will. Together we can. Together we live. Woo.
Ate the lunch,
Mary, not the little one. Tay, just tell them you was live from lunch. Come on. We all be Thank you. This was my teacher at Wayne State.
And you know what I remember? I remember you walking up to me in astronomy at the end of class. You said, "You know what, Mr. Professor Bowman? I'm thinking of running for state rep. What should I do?" And I'm like, "Well, if you got the passion for it, go for it."
Yep.
And obviously, you got the passion. And you're going for
I
big
didn't
things.
win that race, but I went on to run and win for council.
Well, it looks like this
But
is
he
where
was
you're
my-
meant to be.
He's still eligible for deputy mayor then. You haven't ruled that out?
No, not he doesn't want to do that. But he was a very.
I don't know about Scott. He wants to do all kind of
Scotty
stuff.
was a good professor, and you were my astronomy teacher, right?
Yes, astronomy, yep.
Yep, and I reached for the stars.
Yes, you do.
Thank you, guys.
Can we get you an answer?
Yeah,
We're here live. I'm with Mary Sheffield. Angela Lee is here too. Right here, Mary. Listen, I got one question.
Yeah.
We live. What does together we can, together we will mean to you?
It means that when we unite with a shared vision and a shared purpose, that there's absolutely nothing that we cannot achieve in the city of Detroit. And so I'm excited about us coming together and moving Detroit forward so that more people, more businesses, and more neighborhoods benefit from the growth of Detroit.
You heard it here first. Vote for Mary Sheffield, guys.
Don't hurt yourself. Don't.